Stop trading your life for a paycheck right now, because if you do not find a way to make money in your sleep, you will work until the day you actually die. That is not just a scary quote from some billionaire in a suit. It is the cold, hard truth that hit me like a freight train back when I was stuck in a soul-crushing corporate job. I remember sitting in my gray cubicle staring at the clock, drinking the world's cheapest, most bitter 50-cent break room coffee, and realizing I was absolutely miserable. Back then, my bank account was basically a desert, and the only thing growing was my level of stress and my desire to jump out of a first-floor window. But today, everything is different, and I'm averaging close to $400 every single month in pure passive dividend income without lifting a single finger. Look, I am not some Wall Street genius with a fancy degree and a desk in Manhattan. I am just a guy who decided to stop being a financial simpleton. My journey started with a weird family tradition where my parents gave us custodial accounts at Charles Schwab instead of actual cool gifts like video games. As a teenager, getting money you cannot spend is basically like getting a gift card to a podiatrist office. It is the least exciting thing in the world. But they kept telling me someday you will be glad we did this, and man, were they right, even if it took me a decade to stop rolling my eyes. In my early 20s, I was just like everyone else, working a low-wage job, paying rent, hitting the gym, and wasting money at bars on the weekends. I tried apps like Acorns because they look sleek and modern, but I was sporadic at best because I did not understand the philosophy of the exit strategy. Everything changed during the pandemic when I was stuck at home with nothing but time and a job that was making me physically and mentally ill. I started watching financial creators, and suddenly the concept of dividend investing just clicked in my brain like a light bulb in a dark room. It is the simplest logic in the world. You buy shares of everyday companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, McDonald's, and Starbucks, and they send you regular paychecks. In May 2026, with the 30-year fixed mortgage rate sitting around 6.37%, the dream of home ownership feels like a total nightmare for most people. My age, inflation is still hanging around 3.49%, which means if your money is just sitting in a savings account, it is being eaten alive by a silent monster. The only way to win is to own the machines that produce the wealth, and that means loading up on high-quality assets while everyone else is panicking. I started taking it seriously 6 years ago, and I focused on the boring stuff, the broad market index funds like VOO and VTI that just track the winners. Then I discovered the holy grail for dividend lovers, which is SHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, which has been crushing it for long-term holders. Right now, SHD is yielding around 3.3%, while the broader SP 500 is struggling to stay above 1.1% because tech valuations are getting absolutely ridiculous. When you look at the total return of VO versus SHD over the long haul, you realize that those dividends are not just extra cash, they are the fuel. Imagine owning 100 shares of a company like Procter & Gamble, which just paid out $4.26 per share. That is money appearing in your account while you sleep. People ask me all the time, how can you stay so disciplined when the market is red and the news is shouting about a recession or a housing crash? The answer is simple. I treat my portfolio like I treat my gym routine, because you do not walk into the gym and bench press 225 pounds on day one. You start with the empty 45-pound bar, you check your ego at the door, and you add small weights every single week until you become a beast. Investing is exactly the same. It is all about small, consistent, boring progress over long periods of time. And most people fail because they lack patience. They want the 100-bagger crypto coin or the penny stock that goes to the moon, but they end up losing their principal and starting back at zero. I would rather be the guy driving a 2016 sedan with no car payment and a massive dividend portfolio than the guy in a leased BMW with a debt problem. We live in a culture of instant gratification where everyone wants to look rich, but very few people actually want to do the work to be truly wealthy. Financial freedom is not about hoarding millions of dollars so you can swim in them like a cartoon duck. It is about total ownership of your time. Time is the only resource we cannot get back, and spending 40 years doing something you hate just to buy things you do not need is a tragedy. When I reached that first $100 a month in dividends, I realized that my internet bill and my water bill were officially paid for by my stocks. That feeling of security is better than any luxury watch or fancy dinner, because it means I am one step closer to telling a bad boss to kick rocks. Now that I am approaching $400 a month, that covers a significant chunk of my groceries or a nice car payment if I were dumb enough to have one. The math of compounding is truly the eighth wonder of the world, but you have to give it enough time to actually do its thing and start rolling. If you start with $10,000 and add $500 a month at an 8% return in 30 years, you are looking at over $1.1 million. And most of that is interest. The difference between a 7% return and a 10% return over 30 years is literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, so every little percentage point matters. This is why I stick to low cost ETFs like VOO with its 0.03% expense ratio, because I refuse to let Wall Street managers skim off the top. I have watched the market swing wildly, I have seen corporate layoffs dominate the headlines, and I have seen the housing market become a literal battlefield. But through all of it, the companies in the SP 500 keep innovating, they keep selling products, and they keep raising their dividends to shareholders like us. You do not need to be a genius, you do not need a finance degree, and you definitely do not need to follow the herd of gamblers on social media. You just need to get started, stay disciplined, and understand that wealth is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash through a field of landmines. I know it feels slow at the beginning when you get a dividend check for 27 cents. It feels like you are trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. But eventually that teaspoon becomes a bucket, then a pump, and then a literal flood of cash that you can use to buy back your freedom from the grind. If you are still sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment to invest, let me tell you a secret. The perfect moment was 10 years ago. The second best moment is right now, today. This minute, because every day you wait is a day of compounding that you are throwing in the garbage. Stop making excuses about the economy or the interest rates or who is in office, because the market has historically gone up regardless of the drama. Focus on what you can control, which is your savings rate, your investment strategy, and your ability to stay the course when everyone else is panicking. I am here to tell you that if a simpleton like me can build a portfolio that pays for my lifestyle, then there is absolutely no reason why you cannot. I want you to take a hard look at your bank statement and ask yourself if those small purchases are worth more than your future independence from work. That $7 latte or that $15 subscription you do not use could be the seed for a dividend-paying tree that shades you for the rest of your life. I am not telling you to live like a monk. I am telling you to be intentional with your capital so you can live like a king later on down the road. My goal is to reach a point where my dividend income completely covers my cost of living, and at the rate I am going, that goal is getting closer every day. I want you to join me on this journey. Stop overthinking the data and start putting your money to work so you can finally start living on your own terms. Remember, investing is the ultimate exit strategy from a life of quiet desperation, and it is the only way to truly own your life and your future. If you want to see exactly what stocks I am holding and how much each one pays me, you need to stay tuned for the breakdown of the entire portfolio. I will show you the winners, the losers, and the exact weightings of every single position so you can see how a real-world dividend portfolio functions. Do not let another year go by where you are just working for a paycheck. Start building your dividend empire today, and thank yourself in a decade or two. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what your current monthly dividend goal is right now. We are in this together, and I am going to keep showing up and giving you the dry, hard truth about money until we all reach the finish line. Let us talk about the psychology of the market for a second, because that is where most of you are losing your shirt and your sanity every single day. In May 2026, the sentiment is thick with fear and everyone is looking for the next big crash, but that is exactly when the wealthy are loading up. I remember the first time I saw my portfolio drop by $10,000 in a single week, and my stomach felt like it was full of hot lead and broken glass. I wanted to sell everything, hide the money under my mattress, and go back to my low-wage job where things felt safe and predictable and small. But then I looked at the dividend history of companies like Microsoft and Home Depot and realized they do not care about the short-term noise of the headlines. Microsoft has been growing its dividend for nearly 20 years straight, and Home Depot has a payout ratio that makes my heart skip a beat with pure joy. When you own these companies, you are not betting on a ticker symbol. You are owning a piece of a global empire that works while you sleep in your bed. If you are still obsessing over the daily price fluctuations of VOO, you are missing the forest for the trees, and you are going to burn out like a candle. The S&P 500 has survived wars, recessions, pandemics, and bubbles, and it has always come out on top for those who have the guts to stay the course. You need to develop what I call the investor S skin, which is thick enough to handle a 20% drawdown without needing a therapist or a stiff drink. I see so many of you chasing 100% gains in a month on some random coin that has zero utility and a founder who is probably a bot in a basement. That is not investing, that is gambling with your eyes closed in a hurricane, and it is the fastest way to stay broke for the rest of your life. Dividend investing is for the adults in the room who realize that slow and steady is not just a fairy tale, it is a mathematical certainty. Think about the difference between someone who invests 1,000 once and someone who invests 100 every single month for 30 years straight without ever stopping. The consistent investor wins every single time because they are harnessing the power of dollar cost averaging and reducing their risk over the long haul. When the market is down, my dividends buy more shares, and when the market is up, those shares are worth more. It is a win-win scenario. For my future, I focus on the yield on cost, which is the dividend divided by the price I actually paid for the stock, not the current market price that everyone sees. For some of my older positions, my yield on cost is over 8%, which means my money is working twice as hard as it would in a savings account. You do not get to that level by jumping in and out of the market like a caffeinated squirrel. You get there by sitting on your hands and being patient. The housing market in 2026 is a mess, with median home prices still hovering around $420,000, while wages are not keeping up with the reality. If you cannot afford a house right now, do not despair, because you can own a piece of the companies that build the houses and fund the mortgages anyway. By owning VTI, you are literally owning the entire U.S. economy, including the real estate investment trusts that are buying up all the properties on your block. It is a way to hedge against the very inflation that is making life difficult for the average person who is just trying to survive the week. I know some of you are looking at your student loans and thinking that you will never be able to save enough to make a real difference in your life. But even if you can only save $20 a week by skipping that extra pizza or that overpriced craft beer that is $1,000 a year working for you, over 40 years, that $1,000 a year becomes nearly $280,000 at a 10% return, and that is just from the price of a few pizzas. The math does not lie, but humans do. We lie to ourselves every day about why we cannot save or why we need that new shiny smartphone. I drive a 10-year-old car with a dent in the bumper because that car gets me from point A to point B while my money is out there making babies. Every dollar I do not spend on a depreciating asset is a dollar that I can put into a productive asset that pays me for the rest of my life. When you start thinking in terms of freedom instead of status, your entire world changes and the things you used to care about start to look silly. I do not care if my neighbors think I am broke because I know that my brokerage account is more stuffed than their credit card debt will ever be. The ultimate flex in 2026 is not a luxury handbag or a first-class ticket. It is the ability to walk away from any situation that makes you unhappy. Investing gave me the leverage to leave that miserable job and start building a life that I actually enjoy waking up to every single morning of the week. It gave me the confidence to take risks because I knew that even if everything failed, I had a growing stream of passive income to catch me. I want that for you. I want you to feel that weight lifted off your shoulders when you realize that your survival is no longer tied to a boss. So stop scrolling through social media, looking at people who are faking it, and start focusing on the cold, hard data of your own net worth. Open that brokerage account today, set up a recurring transfer of $50, and buy your first share of VOO or SCHD without looking back at the price in 5 years. You will look back at this moment as the turning point where you decided to take control of your destiny and stop being a victim. Compounding is a slow burn at first, but once the heat picks up, it becomes an unstoppable force that can change your family's future for generations. I am doing this for my future self, for my future family, and because I refuse to spend my golden years worrying about the price of eggs. Dividend investing is the ultimate gift to yourself, and the sooner you start unwrapping it, the more time you will have to enjoy the rewards. I will keep posting these updates, I will keep sharing my numbers, and I will keep calling you out on your nonsense until you start winning the game. Success is a choice, and today is the day you choose to be an investor instead of a consumer who is just circling the drain of debt. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and most importantly, stay invested through the thick and the thin of the market cycles we face. The market is a machine that transfers money from the impatient to the patient, so make sure you are on the right side of that equation. If you look at the last century of market data, you see a consistent upward climb that makes all the daily drama look like tiny blips on a radar. You have to stop watching the 24-hour news cycle because their job is to keep you scared, so you keep watching their commercials for stuff you don't need. My job is to remind you that the world is not ending and that the companies you use every day are still making billions of dollars in profit. When you buy a share of McDonald's, you are literally making money every time someone buys a Big Mac anywhere in the entire world. That is the power of global scale, and you can own it for the price of a few family meals if you are willing to sacrifice today for tomorrow. I am looking at my spreadsheet right now and seeing the projections for the next 10 years, and the numbers are absolutely staggering if I just stay the course. I am not looking for a shortcut because shortcuts usually lead to a dead end or a cliff that you cannot climb back up from. I want the path that is paved with logic and historical data, and that path leads straight through the land of dividends and compound interest. If you are worried about the dollar losing its value, then the best thing you can own is a piece of a company that has the power to raise prices. That is what we call pricing power, and it is the ultimate hedge against the government printing too much money and devaluing your hard-earned labor. Think about it, if the price of a gallon of milk goes up, the companies that sell milk are going to make more revenue and eventually more profit. By owning those companies, you are protecting your purchasing power in a way that a savings account or a pile of cash under your bed never could. We are entering a new era of the economy where the middle class is being squeezed by rising costs and stagnant wages, and you need a plan to escape. My plan was to stop playing their game and start playing my own game where I am the one getting paid while I sleep in my own house. It took me years to build the discipline to say no to the distractions and yes to the investments, but every single sacrifice was worth it. 0.100%. I do not miss the nights out at expensive bars or the gadgets that are now sitting in a junk drawer gathering dust and becoming obsolete. What I do enjoy is the peace of mind that comes with knowing my bills are being paid by the work of millions of employees at the companies I own. That is the ultimate form of leverage, and it is available to anyone with an internet connection and a few spare dollars to put to work. Do not let the complexity of the stock market intimidate you, because at its core, it is just a marketplace where you can buy a piece of the future. I am choosing to buy the future that is bright and productive and profitable instead of the future that is full of fear and scarcity and lack. You have the same choice to make today, and I hope you choose the path of the owner instead of the path of the permanent employee. The clock is ticking, and every second you spend not being invested is a second of growth that you can never ever get back in this life. So take action today, even if it is just a small step, because a small step in the right direction is better than standing still in the wrong one. I am proud of the progress I have made, and I am even more excited about where we are going as a community of savvy investors who get it. We are the ones who are going to be laughing in 20 years, while everyone else is wondering where all their money went during the great inflation of the 2020s. Keep your head held high and your eyes on the prize, because the finish line is closer than you think if you just keep moving forward every single day. I am not here to sell you a dream. I am here to show you a map, and the map says that the destination is financial independence through ownership. Let us keep building our empires one share at a time and one dividend at a time until we are the ones in control of our own destinies. The world is full of people who will tell you why it cannot be done, but you only need to listen to the math that says it can be done. The S&P 500 has returned about 10% annually over the last century, and that is all the evidence you should ever need to get started. Do not try to be the smartest person in the room, just try to be the most disciplined and the most consistent person in the room. That is the secret to wealth that nobody wants to tell you, because it is not exciting and it does not sell books or expensive seminars. But it works, and it has worked for generations of people who came before us, and it will work for the generations that come after us. Be the one who starts the legacy in your family, and be the one who changes the financial trajectory of your life forever. I believe in you, and I believe in the power of the strategy because I have seen it work in my own life and in the lives of so many others. Let us make May 2026 the month where you finally took a stand and said, enough is enough, I am going to be an investor. The market is open, and the opportunities are endless for those who have the vision to see them and the courage to act on them. I am going to keep doing my part by showing you the way and being honest about the challenges and the rewards of this lifestyle. 0.100%. Stay hungry, stay humble, and stay invested, because the best is yet to come for those who are willing to wait for it. Compounding is the only wind you want at your back when you are sailing toward the island of financial freedom and peace of mind. I will see you in the next video, where we dive even deeper into the mechanics of the market and the psychology of winning the game. Take care of your money, and your money will take care of you for the rest of your natural life. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single share of an index fund, so go get yours today and do not look back. We are building something real here, and I am honored to have you along for the ride as we conquer the world of finance together. The noise will fade, but the dividends will keep coming as long as people need to eat and drink and use technology every day. Be the owner, be the investor, and be the master of your own financial house. Starting right now, this very second, I am rooting for you, and I cannot wait to see your progress as you build your own passive income machine from the ground up. Let us make it happen and show the world what a group of dedicated simpletons can achieve when they have the right plan. The future is yours for the taking, so go out there and grab it with both hands and never let go of your vision. The dividends are waiting for you, so go claim your share of the global economy and start living the life you were meant to live. I am out for now, but I will be back soon with more dry, hard truths to keep you on the path to victory. Remember, the best thing money can buy is the ability to not care what money costs, because you have enough of it flowing in automatically. That is the dream. And it is a dream that is rooted in reality and supported by a century of data and logic. See you soon, and stay invested, my friends, because the snowball is just getting started and the mountain is huge. The exit strategy is clear, and the tunnel is finally ending, and the light at the end is beautiful and bright. I am proud of you for making it this far, and I know you have what it takes to go the distance and win the whole thing. Keep pushing, keep saving, and keep investing, because that is the only way to the top of the mountain. The view is better from here, and I want to see you standing right next to me when the work is finally done. 0.100%. No more excuses, no more delays, just action and the relentless pursuit of freedom and ownership in a world of debt. You are the captain of your ship, so steer it toward the land of plenty and leave the land of lack in the rearview mirror. I am done for today, but the mission continues every single day until the dividends cover every single expense you have. Let us get it, and let us win big, because the world belongs to the owners and the investors who had the foresight to see it coming. Take care and stay focused on the prize, because you are worth the effort and the sacrifice it takes to get there. The market is a tool, and you are the craftsman, so use it to build the life of your dreams starting today. I will catch you in the next one, where the dry, hard truth continues to set us all free from the chains of the paycheck. Stay invested, stay disciplined, and stay awesome, because you are part of the elite group of people who actually get it. The dividends are calling your name, so go answer the call and start your empire right now without a single doubt in your mind. The math is on our side, and the future is looking bright for those who own the means of production and the shares of the winners. I am gone, but the strategy remains, and it is the same strategy that will work today, tomorrow, and for the next 100 years. Believe in the process, and the process will reward you in ways you cannot even imagine right now in your current situation. The best is yet to come, so stay the course and keep your eyes on the finish line of financial independence. I am out, and I will see you on the other side of the wealth gap where the grass is greener and the income is passive. Peace out.